Well, back at you, gloves off, and I got a great guest and a good friend, and he's one of the best here in Webb County. He's county attorney Marc Montemayor. How are you doing, brother?
Good morning.
You doing good?
Yes, sir. How about yourself?
Good, good. Well, you're back in the campaign trail again. What's going on?
Yes. Well, I'm up for re-election, and this time around I do have an opponent. Been there 12 years, and up until now I've been unopposed. So we're back on the campaign trail. Reaching out to everybody, making sure that our message is spread throughout the community, and kind of remind the people. I think our work speaks for itself. We've been working hard the last 12 years, and I think it speaks for itself. But still, getting out there, talking to everybody, the public, and just kind of reminding them about what we've been doing and what we want to continue to do. And then at the end of the day, I'll put it in God's hands, and hopefully everything works out, and we'll continue to be here and continue to work hard for the community.
Yeah. In the 12 years that you've been in there, what have you seen changed in Laredo? Because your office is kind of specialized more. It deals more with youth and stuff like that, right?
Right.
But
exactly.
what has changed in 12 years that you might say? Is it bettering or is it worsening?
It's just different. Let me say that. There's always been problems with that our kids face, that the youth face growing up. We all have, there's different things that kids face on a daily basis. It's just different now. And, it could be worse in certain ways, but again, it's just different. The problems have changed. Yes, we still have drugs. We still have those issues going on, and those are still things that we work on and face every day, and the kids are facing. But it's gotten to be even more difficult because, we're dealing with vapes. That's an issue. We have almost like half the states in the United States that have legalized, whether it's marijuana or more drugs than just marijuana. And so we're dealing with that because now you're having these are so readily available in other states, but people cross state lines without any problems. The marketing, it's the internet, the social media. All this plays a role, and it's just become so easy for them to get it compared to back 20, 30 years ago when we would have to go to somebody's house, and the typical way a drug deal would go down. Now it's all done on social media. A lot of times you may not even, there's no face-to-face, there's so it's different. So they're facing those issues. We're facing the social media issues, which didn't exist. Social media's taken off these last 10, 15 years, and
it's going to get worse.
Yes, and so that's something that we have to deal with, because these kids, social media is a big part of their lives. So we're facing those challenges as well. The challenges of our kids being recruited by these international, drug, human smuggling, trafficking organizations. We have that issue that we deal with on a daily basis. School threats. That's become a huge problem. We're seeing shootings, not just at schools, but just in communities.
It happened yesterday.
It happened, right, Kansas City. So, we're seeing this, and it's changed over the last 10, 15 years. But especially these last 5, 10 years with social media just really taking off. These school threats and shootings and this vaping, and it's really just taken off over the last 10 years. And so it's challenging, but we're working hard to raise awareness, to educate the kids, educate the parents, work with the schools, work with the local law enforcement, state law enforcement, federal law enforcement. We're working with everybody to combat it, to raise awareness, to do everything we can do.
Some council, what I was trying to see is, we've seen that problem. We've all faced it, and is there ways that we can change the advertisement and legislation to penalize those advertisers there? Is there because they brought out a law that actually worsened than what it was before, and now they're trying to see why did we do that law, and so I think it's a law that's going to be quickly changed, and I think it's going to be changed for the better. There's a lot of issues. We got school to prison pipeline districts. We got a bunch of stuff that just arose, and we have to understand the problem to see once we identify it, then we can fix it.
Right.
But if you can't identify a problem, you can't fix anything.
Right.
We just know it's there. Like, it's a noise in the car, and no sabes que te queda acá parado. You just never, you can't identify it. And now we're identifying what it is, so we can everybody come together. We've all sat down before. The issues that I see here is, everybody blames the issue on deadbeat dads. The deadbeat dad. The dad's not there. They left you, and blah 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 blah. And they're being raised with the mom. In the state of Texas, it's 91% of non-custodial parents are men. In Webb County, it's 96%. And there's a lot of fathers that want to be part of it, part of the life. So we need to change all those dynamics that are going inside, and change all those little things. It's a big, how can I say, it's a bigger puzzle than what we think it is. And I think there's a lot of little things that we have to be adjusted in different areas for it to be running in a smooth plane. But now we have, like you said, drugs are now easier, more available. If they're coming in through the market, like say they're ordering them, is there any way the Postal Service can be stopping them or checking them, or guess what? Now this is a pharmaceutical drug being sent to you. Now you have to come over here to the post office to pick it up instead of them dropping off. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we can do and change the way it is. If once we start identifying that is a problem. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I think legislation would definitely go a long way in helping the situation as far as the marketing of it. If you look at a lot of the especially when we talk about vapes, the marketing of it, it looks like candy. It looks like, just something for kids, flavored, and these like a cake they call them, and so they're flavored type of things. And so to me, it seems they're marketed towards kids, towards the youth, or young adults, and so. I think some legislation could probably be enacted in order to maybe help that, as far as the shipping and whatnot, I do know the Postal Service has, their ways of dealing with those things. It's not the first time that, drugs used to be mailed a lot of times. So I know there's some sort of capability. I don't know exactly how it all works together when we're dealing with ordering on the internet and ordering all that, but I'm sure there's got to be some way that we can kind of maybe tighten down a little bit on those controls, to help the situation. And I just think we need to attack it from all angles, parents, schools, my office, just county or just social service organizations, everybody kind of working together, working on this towards the same goals, and that's kind of making things better for our youth. And giving them the resources they need to survive. Not to say, as kids, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody makes those decisions, especially as kids. So I mean, the way we approach it is, there's some accountability, there's some consequences for your bad decisions, but at the same time, it's not just about that. It's about, okay, there's consequences, but what can we do to help? What can we do to help this child, this kid, kind of get back on the track? What services do they need so they don't make these types of decisions again, and they can focus more on the positive aspects of life and kind of get back on track to be successful in life. And so that's the way we try to approach it. And so I just think that everybody working together with those common goals, from all aspects, we can definitely make a difference. But it's a big puzzle, as you said. It's everybody, so many moving parts. And so getting everybody on the same page can be difficult at times,
Because we might have this piece over here that's actually a part of the link, and if this is not fixed, it's going to send everything else off.
Right.
It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And we have to look at it out of the box, and I think there's a lot of people are looking at it, and they're blaming the kids, and because I heard it, and the deadbeat dads, and you're like, wait a minute, man, that's not what it's about.
Right.
And I was reading a book of Vietnam,
mm-hmm.
and the soldiers after Vietnam, and there was a large percentage of our soldiers. It was like 20% of our soldiers. In fact, it was 20% of those soldiers were hooked on heroin
mm-hmm.
in Vietnam, and when they were removed from the environment, out of those 20%, that's 75% that quit.
Mm.
So I always look at myself, you got a kid that has a problem, and if we stick them in with other kids that have a problem, well, they're never going to quit.
Right.
And if you have a kid that didn't have a problem, and you throw him in with a bunch of kids that have a problem, well, guess what? He is going to become a problem. It's just the way it is. Right. And so there has to be some type of, we have to start changing the way I understand the punitives and I understand the punishment that needs to be done. I think we have to rechange, because there was an incident of a kid that was in middle school, a nice kid. They gave him a vape pen, went to the Step Academy, comes out worse. You know, no se peleaba, no se hizo nada, y se empezó a pelear, and so now all of a sudden he was there, and he was supposed to be there 20 days, now he's over there for 6 months, you know, it's because of everything that occurred. So we have to start looking and see how everything is. I'm not just saying that, you know, because we saw everything. So, I don't know, we have to, as everybody come in, you all, because you all are the ones that are facing this problem, you guys are dealing with it, you all are seeing with it, you all are seeing what's happening, so you all have to kind of say, you know what, we need change. And people have to start saying, okay, we want to change it. It's not like, oh yeah, we're going to do something about it and nothing gets done.
Right. I mean, you know, nothing's ever perfect.
No.
You know, and we always have to reevaluate, you know, what we're doing, where we're going, and what can change to make it better. You know, and so you definitely I'm all for that. And you know, I'm always open to new ideas and new ways to attack problems. You know? And so you know, it's but again, it's just a matter. I just know that if we all work together, you know, some things might not work, some things will work. It's just, you know, fighting what's best, what's worst, and every community is different. You know, Webb County is different than, you know, maybe the Valley or Burr County. You know, every community is different, so every community has to tailor their you know, response and programs to their situation and their community. You know, and so
we're kind of specialized because we're kind of one culture kind of sort of thing. The vast majority, 90%. We're all Latino in essence. And you don't see that elsewhere. Elsewhere you go and it's all over the place. So you have a lot of different challenges that go there, that cross-cultural, that, like you said, Dallas would be a lot different than here.
Right. So I mean, that's something that we've got to deal with. You know, we're kind of stuck in between, you know, a lot of the Mexican culture, especially being right on the border and growing up that way, and you know, but also having to adapt to the, you know, American culture and the ways of the American culture and how they're different than the Mexican culture. You know, and so it's, you know, you're kind of dealing with these things, but nonetheless, you know, it's still our responsibility as a community to attack these problems and make sure that our youth have a bright future. You know, I was asked a question recently about, well, you know, what do you think is one of the biggest issues affecting or facing the county? And my response was, well, any issue that deals with the youth, that affects our youth, that to me is something that affects the county, because, you know, maybe I'm biased because of what I do every day, but if something's wrong with our youth, it's going to affect our future, and our youth is our future, and as long as they have a bright future, well, then our community has a bright future. But if we start failing our youth and there's problems with our youth and we don't fix them, that's just going to continue, and guess what? It's going to poison our community.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely correct. You know, and you see it because you're going to deal with them up to the age of 16. When that's it. After that,
correct.
It's the district attorney that's going to deal with it,
right.
And he's going to see them to a lifetime. And so we have to fix that from it getting worse, because now it's part of the community, bigger picture.
Right.
And now, I mean, there's a lot, like you said, we cannot fix everything, and we live in a world that's been tormented since the beginning, and there's a lot of cross-cultural issues, and now with what we have is the protection of our youth, and we have to do that. I mean, I say that, I see it here, like we were talking earlier. I go, if the parents don't have discipline, don't expect the child to have discipline. It comes kind of, you know, you show them that. That's number one. But people say, well, don't blame the parents. No, I'm not blaming the parents, but the parents have to wean them. But after a certain age, the school starts educating them. So they also have to educate in the moralities and everything else. So there has to be a difference. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
So if our schools are failing, they're both failing at the same time. And so we have to be very careful about just, it's a father's fault, it's a mother's fault, it's a parent's fault. But you kind of see that if you have a person that has the father's always late to the job. It's always this or that. And mom does the same thing, back and forth. The parents don't expect the child to get a habit of getting in there. But that can also be changed once it goes into school, because everything is on time.
Right.
Now, if it's lacking, who cares? Well, then that's what you're going to start doing. It continues. So we have safety boundaries. We can't lose them. Maybe we lost the parents, but we got the school system. We're here that can pick them up and take them and start carrying them forward. And we have to identify all that. I don't know if we're doing that.
Well, you know, that's you know,
You know what I'm saying? It's
I
kinda
do.
hard,
We
and
can-
I'm not putting a finger, but we have to start kind of identifying those issues, you know, and we're in a big predicament that we have to get a lot of people involved into what's going on.
Yes, and that's why we kind of, that's a big thing for me. We have programs available for the kids. Especially drug programs, especially your first timers, those that maybe they've just kind of started dabbling in it. We're trying to get them away from that, so we have some drug programs available for them. And then we have programs available for parents as well, that are struggling with drug addiction. We have a family drug court program as well. And, it's we can all sit around and point the finger, but at the end of the day, it's not going to solve any problems. It's about let's figure out what we need to do and let's go from there. And I think we need to attack it from all angles. Not to say, we work with parents. We go and raise awareness, educate the parents, let them know, hey, we need your help. This is what's going on, and you'd be surprised how they're shocked.
Yeah, they're shocked.
That everything that's going on. We show them pictures of these vapes. We show them what's school threats. We show them social media stuff, and they're just they're shocked. And so that's a big reason why we do that, is because parents need to be aware of this stuff, and when you're aware of it, at least it can help you to be a better parent. Without knowing this stuff, it's right under your nose, and you don't even realize it. And so that's a big thing. That's a big thing for me, is raising that awareness, getting into the schools, getting into these organizations where we can talk to parents and educate them and raise the awareness with them, at the same time talking to the kids, especially when they're going from elementary to middle school. We get in there during elementary as well, because that's when we want to catch them. Once they're getting into high school, they're already kind of getting into that point, and their decision making is a little bit different. But if we can still catch them early, when they're getting to sixth grade, they're still in the elementary mentality. They think they're not going to get into trouble, and they continue with their actions, not realizing that they can now get into trouble for these things. And so that's a big thing that we try to educate them. Hey, you're no longer in elementary. You're no longer a little kid. Now your decisions have consequences, and you can get into trouble for these things. You need to start thinking a little bit more about your behavior and the consequences of your behavior. And so, that's a big thing for me. It's a big thing. Is I think that can help. At least some. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's if we can reach so many parents, so many kids, that's just going to help us. And then parents need to help us spread the word. And so
maybe there has to be I don't know. Maybe. I don't know, I'm just thinking out of the box. Maybe now with everything going on, and the internet and everybody going on in there, school districts, just what you said, you have to educate the parents they're going from elementary to middle school, and middle school, high school, what have you, this and that. And you know what, next year you're registering your kid here again? Well, here's a 30-minute video that you have to watch and click and answer the following questions, and then you can register your kid. If you watch that. And it's telling you everything that's going on, and you have to sit down and, I have 3 kids. Well, I did it for all these 3 kids. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I mean, we have the technology to do stuff like that.
Right.
I think we should start implementing that. And I think, and that's a great point. But now, they're going to say, no, we can't do it. No, we can. The ability's there for it to happen, to start educating the parent, and that's the parent's education. Did you see this? Oh yes. Well, you know what?
Definitely, and I've been working real closely with the school districts, private schools, charter schools, and I know it's something that's being worked on. That is something we're looking at and seeing to implement. We have this vaping task force that we've created for that purpose, to raise awareness, to educate, but everybody work together. Both school districts are involved, a lot of the social organizations, a lot of local law enforcement, state law enforcement, federal. We all have an interest in it, especially here being in this community. But I know that the school districts are looking at those things and working on those things and how we can reach more parents. And so it's something that's being worked on, and I know we're making progress.
And everything takes time. I mean,
exactly.
There's an aggressive way to do it, and like I said before, we lost the war on drugs long ago. So we just have to salvage what we have. We have to protect what we have. It was lost long ago. And unfortunately, that's the way it is. I'm not being pessimistic. I'm just being optimistic in the sense that we have to start salvaging what we have, and what we have is our kids here and in other communities do the same thing if you're listening to it. But and I say that because it's far beyond with what's going on. Now it's no longer, let's just put the cartels in a picture frame. Now it's no longer them transferring drugs. Now they're transferring humans, human trafficking tonight. So, I mean, they left it behind. You know what I'm saying? So we have to really become, if you really want to fight, if you're going to fight a war, you have to be more aggressive than the other person, or else they're not going to respect you. And I think we've lost that along the way.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously we have our issues when it comes to the war on drugs. We can't give up.
No.
We can't give up. That we got to keep fighting. I think like I said earlier, we should always be looking at how we can make things better. And so that includes a war on drugs. And, we need to look at it and what can we change to make it better, to better reach these kids, better make the whole situation better when it comes to combating drugs in our community, especially for me, but, nationwide, how we can attack it as an overall problem. Dealing with, understanding that we have these issues to deal with, social media problems, the states are legalizing it, so taking all that into account, how do we attack it now? How do we address it? So not that we can't give up on it, but we need to kind of, just reformulate our plan and maybe just kind of, tweak it and keep going. So
yeah, and that's just the way it is. We just it's a predator that's out there. And one that, just like everything else, we just have to understand that we have to take care of the predators when the predators come. And that's just the way you look at it.
You brought up a good point. We see it. They're recruiting our kids. Here locally, they're recruiting our kids, and it's all kids we're seeing. Your star athletes, your straight A students, your band students, your cheerleaders, Larriettes, or the dance people.
I don't know, Counselor. I don't know how we can do that, and it has to, we just have to be more aggressive than they are.
Definitely.
And that's just the way it is. And to beat somebody, as well as you've done martial arts before, in a fight and what have you, you have to be more aggressive, and you have to no longer care about that.
Mm-hmm.
I was listening to Dr. Jordan Peterson. He says, a man that is not a man that can control his violence, that is not a psychopath, is a man that they're looking for to protect the community. And they keep the psychopaths away.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to be more. We have to have those good men that are able to say, you know what, let's go stop this. And it's come to that point. I hate to use the word in that sense of violence, but the chaos is already here. And if it's our kids and we have to send somebody in, maybe we have to. But we have to understand that usually you go after somebody, then somebody up in the hierarchy says, no, don't do anything about it. And you're back again to square one. So we have to, I don't know, it's just a never-ending thing.
Definitely.
But, God, and if folks that are out there that are dealing with this, get help. If you're a parent going in there, call our county attorney's office, call mine, and we'll get help. We're all working together trying to fight this. There's some excellent resources out there like Scan and Pillar and
Casa Misericordia.
And to get help, a kid, anybody.
Definitely, and definitely, if there's any organizations or parents that feel they can benefit from us at least doing a presentation, definitely that's what we're here for. Help educate, help raise that awareness. I think it'll go a long way. And they'll be surprised at some of the things that we present. I've been told many times after we do our presentations, like, wow, I can't believe, the things that you all brought to us. And, they'd be amazed, they'd be surprised at what it is that these kids are dealing with on a daily basis. And again, this is stuff they deal with, they haven't even gotten into the classroom, they're dealing with social media, with the school threats and, the vaping and, it's everywhere. And again, they haven't even gotten into the classroom at that particular point. So, and
you see it out there, and you have to. It's just a little bit different. Back then, I guess we had a little bit more. We had uncles and older brothers and older cousins that were out more or less watching. And now you don't see that anymore. You don't see that unit anymore. You just. You see it every so often, but you don't see that.
It takes a village to raise a child.
Exactly right. It's an old African proverb.
And the school threats, it's an issue that we're dealing with, and again, making sure that the parents understand, that the students understand, it's not a joke, and we take it serious.
It was never a joke when you threaten anybody, and people need to understand that. You can't go around threatening anybody.
Definitely. Yeah.
You can't go around threatening anybody. You can't be making threats. You cannot be over abusive, over use of violence. Because you're not. You know, people think, oh, there's nothing going to happen to you. You're not. You have to look at the food chain. The food chain goes high. And you might not be in that level.
And can't rely on that. Can't rely on, oh, they were just kidding. We can't rely on that.
No
God forbid, God forbid something happens. You know, the safety of our students, of the teachers, the administrators, that's
everybody
of utmost importance, and that's the priority. And so we take it serious. And when we get the calls, we take it serious, and you know, we will arrest. You know, I've approved. You know, it's 10 to 16-year-olds. That's what we prosecute. But dealing with 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds, to me, they're still young. You know, they're fourth, fifth graders, and you know, I'm not into the business. And my attorneys know that we don't just go around arresting. It's got to be a special circumstance in order to do that. And I think I can count on one hand how many times I've approved arresting of a 10 or 11-year-old over my last 12 years. You know, so it has happened, and I will do it. But again, it's not something we're in the business of. We look for other alternative ways to deal with those situations when it comes to those kids. And because to me, they're still young. They're still in that fifth grade, that mentality. But again, we have, and even for school threat, I have approved that. And because again, the safety of our kids, the safety of the teachers and administrators, that's what matters. And that's, I won't play with that.
100% behind you. What else is going besides this? Because you know, we can sit down here and talk about it all day, but your office has done some good work, and you know, there's what else do you see as a county?
I think you know, we need resources, especially dealing with mental health. You know, I think.
Well, thank President Clinton for removing the asylums.
You know, a lot of this stuff goes, you know, especially with the pandemic. I think it exacerbated a lot of mental health issues. Being on our phones all the time, being on that electronic all the time, it causes problems. And you know, we need to take that away from them. They need to engage out here in social skills and talking to other people and being outdoors and kind of living life and experiencing life, and not just on that. I think it's exacerbated mental health issues, and unfortunately, here in our community, we sorely lack the resources for that. So that's something that I'd look to work harder on, to try to bring that. We have no type of psychiatric treatment for our youth, and so that's something I'd like to work harder on over these coming years, and try to really help our kids, help our families that deal with this, because I think a lot of times, a lot of the issues that we see may go back to some sort of mental health issues, you know, and so if we can provide that help, you know, it's going to go a long way. So that's something I'd like to focus on, because we do handle those situations, you know, but it's just been harder to be a little more proactive when it comes to that without the resources to help.
Now, here's my question: Are those instances being enhanced by a drug, or those instances?
Definitely. I mean, yeah, exactly. You know, add the drugs to that, add the always on the social media to that, and you know, all the things that go on social media, and all that just further it worsens the problem. And
do you think social media is more on the sense of causing more depression on somebody, or focusing on their depression, or focusing on somebody to go into a sorrow state of mind? What do you think's going on? Because I'm hearing that all the time. People are on social media; they're causing all these problems. There's social media that's going. Where do you think that's drawing in?
You know, obviously I'm not a professional when it comes to that kind of stuff. You know, but I do think it lends a hand somehow, and that's why I think. Just like the saying goes, everything in moderation, you know. And so I think in moderation, social media can be it's for entertainment purposes, you know, and for that stuff, sure. But where it becomes a major part of their life and they're always on it, and it's something that just drives them, that's when it becomes a problem. And so I think, you know, we need to start moderating that a little bit more, and parents need to get a little more involved in that.
You're absolutely correct. You know, I look at social media, and every time, you know, because of businesses and the branding of what we've done and everything else, we've had to expound out of Facebook, and we were on YouTube, and because now the TikToker that was 12 years old is now 30 years old. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. 20 years old. You know, the teenager's now grown, and he still uses TikTok. So that advertising, that's where it's going to come from. Right. But when you start looking at issues like that, and you look at these kids that are on social media, it says for adult entertainment. So how are they bypassing that?
Right.
And if something is happening on social media in that, I think the social media, or that app or that group or that company that's holding it should be responsible for it. And I think and I don't know, there was some congressional hearings on that.
Right, I was about to mention that.
Yeah,
Yeah, there was some hearings a couple of weeks ago,
Yeah.
and I know it's something that was discussed. So hopefully there'll be some changes when it comes to
You know what I'm
that.
saying? Because, I mean, you're getting 10-year-olds that are on there. You're like, what are you doing on Facebook? What are you doing on this? What do you know? And a lot of this, a lot of the child predators are coming out of there. You know, they're coming out on those games.
Yeah, the
You're
child
on-
exploitation,
Yes,
the
yes.
child, you know, the recruitment, the exploitation,
Yeah.
even the sexual exploitation, all that happens on social media. So that's, you know, again, social media has its good stuff and its benefits, but it also has that side of it. And so as parents, we need to be aware of those things. And that's part of what we do when we talk to these parents. Hey, you need to check their stuff. Don't be afraid, you know, because I understand a lot of times we want to give them all their individuality. That's their privacy. They're kids, and so to a certain extent they don't have that privacy. We need to stay on top of them, and so you need to know what they're doing, who they're communicating with, you know, and in order to know what's going on in your child's life, you know, they're not going to tell you everything. You know, they may, you know, hopefully some parents do have those relationships with their kids, but I think many of us don't, and so we need to take those extra steps and really get involved in our kids' lives and see what they're doing, who are they hanging out with, who are they talking to, what social media sites are they visiting, and what are they doing on those social media sites. A lot of times, even these gaming consoles, they can chat through there. There's apps on those gaming consoles, and they can communicate through those things, even with individuals that are not part of their little friend group.
Yeah.
You know, and so a lot of stuff goes on there, and again, that's what we try to educate the parents about, and you'd be surprised, but you know, I do think that we need to just kind of work together when it comes to all that stuff and really try to make a difference.
Parents, the cell phone, the iPhone, the Android, or what have you, the laptop or the tablet is not the babysitter. You guys have to be involved with it. I mean, you guys have to look and see what they're doing.
Right.
And if you're not doing that, you know, you're putting yourself and your child, and you're more so your child in danger. So understand that. Understand that happens. You know, and there's so many stories on that you know, and
Definitely.
it's ridiculous the amount of predators that are out there. And now with the internet, you can be talking to one from New York or whatever. You know, you don't know. You don't know. You know, and be careful. Be careful, and women too. You know, I used to tell the main thing is we used to get a lot of women that want self-defense, and the first three things are, my ex is stalking me, or this boyfriend I had is stalking me, or this guy that I know is stalking me. He shows up where I'm eating. He shows up that we're having dinner over here. I go, do you tag yourself every time you're on Facebook? Oh yeah, and you look at her Facebook, everywhere she's at, she's tagging herself where she's
Right.
at. Well, they're following you.
Yeah, there you go.
They're following you. Quit tagging yourself, number one.
Right.
And second, the hardest thing that I tell women, the hardest thing that I tell everybody, the majority of women, when it comes to a self-defense situation, is going to be against somebody, more likely 75%, that they know who they are. So that psychological effect of them hitting somebody that they know,
You got to get past that.
they have to get past that, and a lot of them don't ever get past that. That's why we have the problems that we have, and it's very hard to teach. You have to, it has to break that barrier, and it's unfortunate, but you know, women are now coming up a little bit more. They're asking more what to do, and hey, you know, send them to the police. The first thing, if the police are not doing anything, send them to the DA or what have you. You know,
Yeah.
go to the sheriff's, do something else, bypass all that, because there's issues out there. And there's a lot of them out there.
Definitely. I mean, I have my daughter. She's 20 years old, and you know, and I worry about that. And I always talk to her, but you always got to be aware of your surroundings. No matter where you're walking, where you're at, where you're coming out of, you need to always be aware of your surroundings. You know, that's the first and foremost. You know, a lot of times we're on our phones, where you know you're looking down, and that's when things can happen. So
Absolutely.
we need to put it down, and you know, there's a time and place for those things, and you know, it's unfortunate that is just what we're dealing with.
Anything else?
No, you know,
When's early vote?
early voting begins February 20th, next
Tuesday.
Next Tuesday, yes, yes,
Are
a few
you?
days away. Yeah, a few days away. It runs till March the 1st, which is a Friday. The following Friday, March the 1st, and election day is March the 5th.
The following Friday is March 1st? No.
Right. So Tuesday through the week until the following Friday. That's March the 1st. Not just Tuesday to Friday, no, Tuesday, one whole week.
Oh, it's 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Well,
almost 2 weeks,
yeah,
right?
so 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Is it going to be Saturday, Sunday as well, or no?
Yes, sir, I believe so, yeah. Saturday, Sunday, just that first week, not that second week. It ends on Friday, and then that weekend it's off until the election day, the 5th. And there's voting sites, you know, early you can vote anywhere, it doesn't matter. You know, there you got downtown, you got the fire department, the main fire department,
Get right
Del Mar.
across the street.
También. So, you know, the city annex, there's out on the Mines Road, there's out in the south, so there's plenty of places to vote, and just we encourage everybody to get out and vote, make sure to vote. You know.
And you guys make sure to vote for Marc here. That's number one thing, you know, and done a great job, and we just have to keep on doing that and help him to do a better job. And when I say that, help him do a better job, all of us in the community start working for a particular goal and start getting out there, because it's our youth.
Definitely.
Because, you know, like I said, they do something wrong now, and they get in trouble now, and they're in the habit of always getting in trouble. Next one, they're going to be seeing our district attorney, and they're going to be there. He's going to be seeing them until life.
Right. You know,
And unfortunately, that's the way it is. And you know, you don't want to get that habit of in you. You can change. You can move. There's a lot of things you can do. Start, you know, and stop hanging around with people that don't want you to progress. Number one. Learn that quick. Well, and how can they get a hold of you?
you can reach me at my office. You know, anything we can do to help, to serve. If there's anything we can do to partner with you or help your situation, your cause, reach out to us at the Webb County Attorney's Office. We're located downtown, 1110 Washington Street, Suite 301. Office phone number is 956-523-4044. You can reach us there, and we'd be happy to help out in any way that we can. So, you know, that's what we're here for.
That's it. Folks, we'll leave you with this. You all stay safe, be safe, and God bless you all. Until next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.